Morning and welcome to our live talk program. This is Lloyd Grubb here, your host on Revive Reform Radio, doing our live talk program, doing finance on this your Tuesday Rise and Shine. And today I'm looking at the topic getting the most value out of your labor and income. So, getting the most value out of your labor and income. So, welcome again. Thanks for being with me here. Let us pray. Our Father, who art in heaven, I thank you, dear Lord, for the way that you continue to bless us and guide us, and that you teach us not only to get wealth, but also how to preserve and to maintain what we have. May you bless us, dear Lord, for this to this end, for Christ's sake. Amen. So I'm looking at the topic again here, which is getting the most value out of your labor and income. So you want to be able to get the most value you can out of whatever you earn or whatever you keep, whatever you try to spend for yourself, and so that you can continue to flourish and be in the best of health. And so, getting the most out of your labor and income is a continuation of what I'm talking about this week, which is my theme for the week is recognizing value and holding on to what is valuable. So, the more you can recognize value and holding on to what is valuable, then you will be able to get most out of your income. So everything we do is towards this end. So I want to be able to go through some of the texts I went through yesterday, but some other texts to enlarge that thought about recognizing value. Because in order for you to get the most out of your income and what you make, then you have to also recognize what is valuable. And as you recognize what is valuable, then you can spend your money on what is valuable, and then your money will go further. And so we'll start again with our main text, which is in Proverbs chapter 3, verse 13 through 20. Proverbs 3, verse 13 through 20. So notice it says here, happy is the man that findeth wisdom, and the man that getteth understanding. For the merchandise of it is better than the merchandise of silver, and the gain thereof than fine gold. She is more precious than ruby, and all things that can't be desired are not to be compared unto her. Length of days is in her right hand, and in her left, and riches and honor. Her ways are ways of pleasantness, and all her paths are peace. She is a tree of life to them that lay hold upon her, and happy is every one that retaineth her. The Lord by wisdom hath founded the earth. By understanding he hath established the heavens. By his knowledge the depths are broken up, and the clouds drop down dew. So when we look at this, we look at life as everything that we're doing, we find that the wisdom is important to not only get, but to retain and to handle our business with. And so when we handle our business with wisdom, what we're doing, we're making choices that we can be happier. So when you work hard for your money and you lose that money because you make foolish choices, then it's very painful. And you have to work harder. So you can't waste your labor by making dumb choices. So we learn wisdom, and we learn wisdom in finance so that we try to make our money goes as far as it can. And so we're making the best of what we have. And so if your money come easy, then as I say, easy money goes easy, and hard money, you want to make it go hard. You don't want to let go of your money real easily. And so you want to do your best you can to hold on to the money that you have as much as you can. And so those principles I want to be able to talk to you here with today, about how to make sure that your hard money is very difficult for it to leave your hand, and you want to make the best of your money. So we find here that the ways of wisdom is pleasantness. And as I said, it in this life, because you have to work so hard, and I'll deal with those principles in a few minutes, that you want to be able to not have an unpleasant experience, because the harder the money you work for the money, you want to be able to use that money very judiciously. In Isaiah 55, verse 1 and 2, Isaiah 55, verse 1 and 2, it says, "Ho, everyone that thirst, come ye to the waters, and he that hath no money, come ye, buy and eat. Yea, come, buy wine and milk without money and without price. Wherefore do you spend money for that which is not bread, and you labor for that which satisfied not? Hearken diligently unto me, and eat ye that which is good, and let your soul delight itself in fatness. So the question that is being posed there, the parable, I don't want to say parable, but the situation that's being posed here is this idea here that you can buy bread without price, and if you're thirsty, you can get water, and you have no money. And so the question is, in this life, this is not, is this possible? Because when man sinned, God sent him out to the Garden of Eden to work and to dress it. If he wants to have a garden, well, he sent him out to the Garden of Eden to create his own garden, so to speak. If he wants to have somewhere that is already grown and it can produce fruits and so forth, then he has to put in some labor. So the whole idea here that he says, come and spend, and you come and buy, but buy without price, is, to me, the original thought there in my mind is always going back to the concept of obedience. Because disobedience got us to a point that says, if order for us to get milk, if order for us to get food, in order for us to get water, everything that I have to do in this life, we have to pay. That's what disobedience does. So to me, as I've communicated to you before, the more disobedient we are, is the more heavy we pay. The more obedient we are, is the less we pay. So you want to do life where you're doing life as cheap as possible. If you can do it without price, then you want to do it that way. And so I look at life and I realize that disobedience is very expensive. And when you do life with obedience, it costs less. So that's one of the biggest wisdom that I could say to a person. But notice he says in verse 2, he says, wherefore you spend money on that which is not bread, right? So, as a practical example, as I covered yesterday, when you look at flour as an example, and when they tell you that you could not even sell flour as food because one of the basic components of food is that you have to have nutrients. But because they fortify the flour, it can still be sold as flour, white flour I'm talking about, because food has to have nutrients. And if you're getting your food and your food is denatured and your food basically doesn't have nutrients to it, it's not truly considered as food. Because somebody who said, but Lloyd is food because he has protein, he has some nutrients, I guess, if you have some amino acids, so to speak. You have some carbs, and you might have some, you have energy. But most of the nutrients is taken off when they take off the brown part. So in my mind, I just apply this text as practical as I can get. I just simply saying that says, when you're foolish, or when you're making dumb choices, or when you're in a system that does not consider these things, or they say, well, we fortified, or you buying all day long, you can be buying, as I covered, and you're buying things that are, it's bread, but it's not really bread. You're paying, but you're not paying good. Like somebody say, I can live very cheap, Lloyd. And I say, how? Housing wise. Because I can live in a neighborhood where it is, there's, all kind of crimes going on and stuff like that. And I say, well, if your house is part of your investment, I wouldn't invest in that area. And so you can put your money into what? It's a bag, but it has holes in it. You want to be able to live in a neighborhood, not a hood, where the neighborly part is taken out. Because what you're going to find is that the money that you're working, you're not going to get as good value out of that money. So everything in life, as I'm saying, is important for you to be able to consider how is it that you're spending your money, and that you're not going to put your money out there and not get the most of your money. And this is how I want to be able to do this talk here. And just a little distraction there, and then I finish my distraction. Let's get to verse 2 again now. So thanks for sticking with me. So notice here, wherefore do you spend money for that which is not bread, and your labor for that which satisfied not, right? So your income is supposed to be able to satisfy you, and your income and your labor is supposed to be able to get your bread. You're working to be able to offer service to somebody, somebody pay you for the service you render, and then you pay others for services that they render. In other words, we all here together in one as one mass, and we all serve everybody. Everybody serves each other. That's what life is about. So number one, hopefully you're laboring. You get up every day, you're serving somebody, when you do work. But when you work now, you get paid for the service you offer to society and to your neighbors. And for that labor that you serve, you want to be able to spend your money on what you get the maximum value. You want to maximize your value. And so in this life, you want to make sure that you get the maximum value. Because somebody will say, but Lloyd, I prefer to eat the stuff that is softer and stuff like that. And I prefer to eat the stuff that has no bitterness in it and no nutrients. I just want it good flavor and just very succulent. Sure. But that's not good health, and that's not a good way to spend your money. You want to be able to get the best value. And sometimes the best value is you have to pay a little. As I say, some things, is cheap, and you get your money's worth, which you pay nothing and you get nothing. You pay cheap and you get cheap. And cheapness is never the best way to go in life. So you want to look at life that you want to pay the best value and you want to get the best value out of what you're doing. Because you don't want to spend your money on that which is not bread. Now I know somebody might say that when Isaiah wrote this, Lloyd, there was no such thing. Everything would have been whole wheat. It would have been brown rice. I don't think they had the technology then to give us white rice and white flour and all that stuff. Probably not. Never investigated. I never seen that they had the technology. But I apply this text that way. I apply this that you literally came by bread. That legally the government has to put fake, fake nutrients in it because it would not be classified as food because food has to have nutrients. You have to have, like thiamine, riboflavin, and so forth, certain vitamins in it for it to be classified as food. And since white flour has been denatured, it's really not food. But you can buy that which is not bread. That's not the best way to spend your money. As I say, I prefer to spend, I don't know what the price of bread again is, but $5 for a loaf of bread. I don't eat bread anymore, but anyhow, $5 for a loaf of bread, so to speak, than pay $3 for white flour bread because I think I'm losing my money because I'm buying food and I should be intelligent enough to know that food has to have nutrients and not synthesize nutrients. And you're laboring what which not satisfy you. Again, I've known areas that the cost of the house has not risen much, even though in the last how many few years, last 4 years, there's been an exponential growth in the value of our homes, primarily because of inflation and other reasons. And yet, if you go to certain neighborhoods, because they're more hood, they're not a neighborhood, the cost of that home has not risen. Now, somebody said, Lloyd, but it's cheap to live there. Yes, but sometimes you can't afford to live in a place that is that cheap. You might can't afford to live in the Hamptons, so to speak, and probably deal in certain areas, even if you live in New Jersey here. But you can't afford to live certain places because you might say it's cheaper to live in that hood where you have to probably duck in bullets and stuff like that. But that cost is not just the cost that you're in a hood. And like somebody say, he wants to live in an area where their shopping carts turn over on the street. There's garbage on the street, and every now and then, there's people shooting at night. Normally, the rent or the cost of a house is very cheap. I would say, yeah, it is cheaper, but are you really getting your money's worth? That to me is like buying white flour and white bread. White, bread that made with white flour. Because long term, some of the biggest reasons why your investments is in a house is that long term you're putting your money in things that are stable, the value is stable. And as I say, I've been to areas where 10 years ago, 2008 happened, the crash happened, for housing market crash, and so forth and so on. And the value of those homes never rose because there's something depressing the price of the home. And it's because it's in the physical house is in a hood. So you might, as I say, not be able to live in the most expensive areas, but you might have to go somewhere that is in between. But it's a neighborhood, not a hood. And you live in an area like that, that every month you pay your mortgage, you're paying in something into, you're putting your money into a bag that doesn't have holes so that you can see some value. So you have to be able to recognize value and say, I don't think there's value here. And I really believe that these are the reasons why there's no value here. And you make that calculation and then you do your thing. So for me, certain things, it comes with a price and I'm gonna pay. But some things is too expensive for me. And I'm not gonna try to buy that because it doesn't add value to me. But some things are too cheap because there's a reason why it's selling it so cheap. And it's the same thing when it comes on to now when he says here, and your labor on what that which does not satisfy. Why do you do that? Because somebody could say, Lloyd, I could buy a $1 meal, a $5 meal, and it fill my stomach. Yes, if you're not thinking intelligently, it fills your stomach. But if you're thinking intelligently, a $5 meal is gonna fill your stomach, and you're gonna say, okay, I'm full. But nutrient wise, as I say, it's not gonna satisfy you. It's gonna make you get fat, you're gonna get sick, but you're not gonna get healthy, you're not gonna get the nutrients your body need. Because yes, when I'm a child, I don't consider well about nutrients because I'm not knowledgeable. I'm not trying to be ignorant, I'm just ignorant because I'm a child. But as you get older, you're supposed to understand that food has to have energy, but it has to have nutrients. And not synthetic nutrients, but real nutrients. Real selenium, sorry, real zinc, real copper, real vitamin A, B, C, D, E, riboflavin, thiamine, you know, all of those nutrients has to be in the food for it to consider food. So somebody could say, Lord, it satisfies me because it's empty calories and I feel full. But our bodies are not made to just eat empty calories. The Lord did not create it. And up until about 6,000 years of life, up until 5,000 years after sin plus, human beings were eating food with nutrients. But somehow we have gotten some technology and we have made technology made fools of us that now we can produce food that is devoid of nutrients, but it has energy. Bravo for humanity. We have come a long way. And we have now modernized ourselves and we are so modern that we can isolate stuff and eat only isolate. But God did not make beans to be isolated. And so if you eat, you have to be able to put in some in there. You know, I can eat something that has the protein, but I have to understand that I have to go eat some beans also, literally, because there's fiber that I need for my colon. So food is more complex. You need fiber. You can't eat wheat without fiber. You can't eat all your food without fiber. You will have colon problems. You'll have digestion problems. So first, you have to add that in. So to me, value is something that you have to recognize because what I'm showing you here, what is valuable. And so when you understand value, you say, okay, you know, I remember once I went to a dealership and I was going to buy a car. And they were telling me that, you know, the average person don't drive this car that I was looking at buying, me and my wife, above 100,000 miles. And I said, what are you talking about? And I said, you mean the car won't, most people don't have this car. Yeah, normally the engine fail or the transmission fail. Above 100,000 miles, yeah. And I'm like, for me, that didn't have no value to me. I didn't see value there because I don't see value in leasing. I don't believe in a life that you should lease. Somebody said, well, I can get a car, Lloyd, for $300 a month if that's your only choice. But to me, everything is about investments. Everything is about long term. It's always about ownership. You can't own it right now, but you want to own it long term. So even if you have to pay for the car 7 years, but at least at the end of the 7 years, you own it. But at the end of the 7 years or 5 years or whatever the car payment you're doing, the car engine crash and burn and it is useless. What's the point? It's well, you're not gonna be you're gonna own a piece of junk. So you want to be able to buy something that the manufacturers are telling you that there's value because you're gonna pay. So somebody said, "But what if I pay less?" Yeah, but you don't pay. Because if the engine fails and the transmission fails, well, you have to calculate that as part of the cost of the ownership. So somebody said, but it failed after, say it failed at 9,000 miles or 60,000 miles. Well, might as well I buy something that it gonna last me 100,000 miles or 150,000 miles and the engine's still alive. Does it make sense? Because that's the cost of ownership. I want to own it. And if you're going to take me this amount of time, you have to do the calculation. And in the future, I guess I have to do some of these calculations and show you. But I think you can get the idea in mind. If I can buy another car for, say, $5,000 more or $10,000 more, and I'm going to get 150,000 miles, 200,000 miles, if I hold on to it, to me, I have to calculate that and say, well, that's the total cost of ownership because I'm going to drive this car. And I don't want to be forced to have to sell the car. And then the resale value is important because if I can't resell it to get my money out and get some money out so I can get a deposit on the next car, well, I'm putting my money into, well, I read the last part of that text. It says, hearken diligently unto me and eat ye that which is good. So that's we want to do that. And let your soul delight itself in fatness, right? So we want to be able to put ourselves in a situation where we're always growing. And as I say, when you make money, you want to put yourself in a situation where you're putting your money into that which is bread, into that which satisfies, because you're going to be able to retain more of your money. Because the more money you retain long term is the less money you have to output. And so then the less work you have to put in. And it's the better, quick you can get to retirement because your money isn't working for you. In other words, you not just want to make money, you want to put your money to work for you. And so you want to put your money in vehicles in the sense of different areas that will work for you and work for you long term. The more you can get out of it. As I say, everything in this life is perishable, but you don't want to put your money to stuff that perish real fast. Just think about it. If you want to, lobster and crabs and those things, they're so filled with toxins that you have to cook them alive. Can't leave them too long because they could poison you. Those things are horrible. But you want to put the thing that can last longer, you want to put your money into there. But everything is perishable, but you don't eat something that is that perishable. Haggai chapter 1, verse 5 and 6. It says, now therefore, thus says the Lord of hosts, consider your ways. So that's what we're doing here. We're just considering the ways how we do life. Ye have sown much and bring in little. Ye eat, but ye eat not enough. Ye drink, but ye have not enough. Sorry, ye drink, but ye are not filled with drink. Ye clothe you, but there is none warm. And he that earneth wages to put it into a bag with holes. So you want to earn the wage, but you don't want to burn your money. This is why we believe, as I said, morality makes you get better or closer to the tree of life. Because if you earn money, you earn $100, and you don't have to put your money into gambling. Gambling is a bag with holes. I remember years ago, somebody was telling me that a boat is a hole in the ground. Now you can't own one, but you never want to put your money into anything that somebody can refer to as holes. It's a hole. You basically pouring your money into it. So we take that principle and we apply that principle to everything in life. If you spend less money on musing, anything that has the word M-U, is what is S-E-R-Z-E, muse. So the less money you spend into anything that has not anything to do with musing. Now I muse, I muse at stuff, but even sometime when I do musing, my musing is normally I go to a garden and muse because what it is that it's a musing that is educational in my mind because I want to have a garden. I like flowers. So I want to see what the gardeners are doing. But anything that has to do with muse, like an amusement park, a lot of entertainment that comes with subscription services where you just sit there and you muse all day. That to me is putting your money into holes, in the bag with holes. And the larger your amusement is, and the more money you spend. I was looking at, they had a game, I think yesterday, Sunday night, I think it is some basketball game, and they were saying it's the female basketball league. I think it's women NBA, and it was on the headline news, and I clicked it, and then I came to the point where they were saying what it cost for the average ticket, and the average ticket I think was $371. So I don't know how long a game goes for. Can't remember, but say an hour. So say you had amusing now. It's amusement. You know, like normally when I say, just to make you understand what I'm talking about, like you go to an amusement park, you go there to muse. You know, it's just you're like wow, and or you go on the ride to feel amused. And so amusement, right? So to me, games are like a lot of amusement. Like in the summer coming up, I think next month or the following month, they're gonna be in Paris amusing at the people, doing all kind of amusing things or very fascinating things, right? What human body can do. So anyhow, so muse, Muse or Muze. So amusement park, I think that's Amuze. So you understand what I'm talking about? Okay. So when we talk about musing, and you go to a game and say that average game, the average ticket is $371. So you go to Ticketmaster, you say, give me a ticket for that game so I can go there and I can muse. Now remember, that's the average. So that means there's people in the nosebleed if it's that far away. I don't know how big those stadiums are. And they probably pay less than that, obviously. And then there's somebody at courtside. They probably pay $1,000 something for their amusement, right? So say you are a regular worker and you're making, as an example, $37.10. So what's that? 10 times what you make per hour. And you go there for the game and you went to that game and you mused for 1 hour. And for 1 hour, you pay 10, you had to work now for 10 hours, right? So that's 10 hours worth of work. So that to me is an example of you have to really be satisfied with that. Because I'm not saying that you can't do that or you shouldn't or whatever. That's your thing. I'm just using it as a calculation here. So for 10 hours, you have to work, if you work for $37 an hour, you have to work for, I know you'd have to work more, probably $40 an hour because the government going to take their cut of your labor. So you have to work for 10 hours, and for 10 hours you work, then you go to the amusement, and it has to be cute. I didn't see my clip or anything. I saw it in the news. I said, oh, what's going on here? And I click, and then I come to the ticket, the average ticket price for this amusement, because it's good for what I was going to talk about today. And you pay 10 hours worth of work. That's how you have to look at it. I'm going to pay 10 hours worth of work, an average, in the stadium, because some people pay less, obviously. Probably people in the nosebleed pay 1 hour's worth of work, 1 hour worth of work. And then people at courtside, probably they pay 100 hours worth of work if they were regular people. And you sit there, you're amused, and you feel good. It's your money, so you spend the way you want to. For me, I've chosen that I limit my amusement. And if I can muse for free, I muse for free, but not for pay. All right. Because if you're making $37 an hour and you do 1 hour, that's 10 hours worth of work. And that's how you have to calculate it. I just spend 10 hours worth of work for my amusement. And what do you get for it? It's just 10 hours worth of 1 hour worth of amusement. And that's what it is. And if you're satisfied with that, well, there you go. You're good. I'm not going to be satisfied with that because that's too much money. And that's it. Might not be anything per se wrong in that or right. It's just that's how I have to look at your money. That when you have easy money, because they were saying some rappers and movie stars were at the courtside. Well, they make easy money. So they can spend that money easy. And that's why most of them go broke. But when you make hard money, and you have to think about it as I'm going to spend for that average ticket, I'm going to spend 10 hours worth of labor. And if that 10 hours worth of labor is hard, then you want to be able to limit your amusement or your money spending on amusement because that money came too hard. So it pains me if I have to spend money like that to muse. So I read it again. You have sown much and bring in little. So if you're in that experience, and I've known people in that experience, they're not making $37 an hour. they probably making less than half of that or half of that. And so they have to do 2 days worth of work, working 10 hours a day, 20 hours worth of work for that amusement. It- And if they're already working hard and bringing in little, oh, that's very painful amusement. And notice here, you eat, but you have not. So for me, if you work money work hard, you better learn how to eat whole grain bread because my money come too hard for me to spend it on junk. You drink, but you're not filled. You're clothed, and you're not. You see, for me, I used to find when I wear like certain polyester type clothing, I don't know, wear cotton or linen or stuff like that, that my clothing wouldn't last as long and wouldn't look as good long term because it can't stand up to washing and ironing and laundering. So I find that it wasn't worth my money because for me, you want to be able to make the money fast and spend the money slow. You don't want to make the money slow and spend the money fast. You want to make it as fast as you can, as much money as you can, as easy as you can, quote unquote easy, because no money is easy. There's never easy money. Even people that does stuff that is called easy money, it costs them something. And then you're spending it fast. That's not a good thing. So we want to slow. We want our money to spend like molasses, but we want to make it like water. And when you figure it out, call me and tell me what you're doing. I want to practice that. So notice here, ye clothed, but there is none warm. So no, because that's not good. Clothing in the winter has to keep you warm because you need to be comfortable. And so if I'm spending my money on something that, and if I buy a gloves and the gloves not keeping my hands warm, then I'm mad because I still spend money. But somebody said, Lord, what if it's cheap? It's too cheap. That's how I look at it. It's just too cheap. You get what you pay for. And for me, that's nah, I'm not doing my money like that. So that's why I'm here telling you. Your own wages, and he that earneth wages put it into a bag with holes. So to me, amusement is an example of putting my money into a bag with hold. Because how much money? If I pay, you've heard some of these tickets, what they can go for. Somebody go to a concert. I can see why somebody, I'm not endorsing it, but I can see why somebody go to a concert and the concert is not going good and the singer is not going good and they probably start throwing stuff at the stage. Not endorsing the behavior. But I'm just saying, if you be like, man, I paid good. Man, I had to work a whole week for this ticket. You make it 30 something dollars an hour, and you go for a ticket, you pay $3,000, and you be at front row, and the person is not performing well. Um, I was reading an article a few weeks ago where somebody, I think, is suing Madonna, the material girl, and he's suing her because she was lip syncing at the concert and it wasn't good. He said it wasn't good, so he's suing him for his money because if you imagine if he's at front row and he's paying a big amount of money and he's like he wanted her to lip sync even if she sound like grandma because by now I think she's probably at the grandmother age and I mean what does he expect from her? But she was a material girl when she was in the 80s and 90s. But now, she's, you have to deal with it. You're going to a geriatric performance. So he's going there and he's going to sue because he has to pay because it's amusement, right? So it has to be painful. So to me, that's money put into holes that we not bag. Like, what did he expect? That was when I was a child, she was out. So she probably could be a great grandmother. No, I don't think great grandmother, but something close to that. Matthew 13, verse 44 and 46. Again, the kingdom of heaven is like unto a treasure hid in a field, which when a man had found, he hideth the treasure that is, and for joy thereof goeth and selleth all that he had and buyeth the field, because you want to secure the field so you can get a treasure. So when you recognize value, you see value, you do everything to secure the value because you see the value of it. You see, when I understand food, understand the value of food, that food is not just for energy. I say, oh, I'll pay more. When I understand, I remember years back I used to buy this soap called San Francisco from a company called San Francisco Soap Company because I understand how they make regular soap with like fat from animals. So I was like, what? Fat from, they get the rendering plant um, animals and then they make the soap. And then I said, no, I need soap with it's just plant based oil. So I find the cheapest I could find. I don't know if it was the cheapest, but I find one that I found was inexpensive at the supermarket. And I'll buy that soap and bathe with that soap because I say, well, at least I get my money's worth. And it's not all these dead animals in my soap. So, oh, well, the fat from dead animals or so forth. So I remember that, and because I saw it as value, and then my brain started to really kind of hone in from then. That was my jumping off point. I always go back to that in my brain. I've started to understand the concept of you get what you pay for and what value is, and what am I putting? Why is this soap so cheap? Oh, because it's dead carcass. They get the fat and then they make these soaps. And then I say, I can't buy. But the major brand soaps are made from animal fat. I'm not bathing in that. And so from then I start to understand, oh, value. Understand, oh, yeah, I'm paying more for organic carrots. But the organic carrots going to give me some selenium and, vitamin, beta carotene and all that stuff. It can give me better nutrients. And I said, ah. So I would see something organic and it even looks smaller. It's not all blown up and big, but it's more nutrients. So I get more value for my money. But it's hard to explain to a person. So we have to recognize value. So here the man, he sees and he said, man, that's valuable. That's a treasure. I'm going to sell everything I have because I want to secure the treasure. Because when I secure that treasure, I'm going to be richer. So we want to get the most out of our income. We don't want to put our income into, as I say, a lot of things that it's just amusing. It's a very amazing. But what does it do for me? It makes me feel better. I don't know. It does. And notice again in verse 45, the kingdom of heaven is like unto a merchantman seeking goodly pearls. So why doesn't he seek badly pearls? He seek goodly pearls, right? And when he had found one pearl of great price, he went and sold all that he had and bought it. He's a what? He's a merchantman. What do you want to do? You want to sell it. So he's looking for something that he says, I know I can get this product and I can put it on the market and make this amount of money. So he's looking for a pearl with a certain quality. I myself have seen a pearl, many pearls, but I wouldn't know what a valuable pearl is, so to speak. What is he looking for? And who is he going to sell? Because obviously, if he find a pearl of great price, he probably going to sell it to the queen of the country that he's living in. He's going to sell it to one of the rich people. And they might know because they look at it. I look at certain things. I don't know why it's valuable because I'm not into it. But what I'm into, I know why it's valuable. So your money want to go the furthest because you're a business person. Your aim is business. You go to work, you're not just a worker, you're a business person. Your money is supposed to make you more money. You're making money to make money. Your job is a business. Somebody said, but I work for a corporation. It's your business. It's just your business within a business. That's how you look at it. You don't have a job. You don't have a career. You don't have a trade. You have a business. Whether or not you own your own business or not, you're a business person. That's just how I look at it. I don't believe somebody say, "Oh, this person here is a business person." Yeah, he's self-employed, have their own business. But if you work for a corporation, you have your own business. You have your own clients, and you have the people you serve. Somebody say, "Well, what if I'm a truck driver?" Yeah, you work for a corporation. That's your business, right? And you're getting a cut of the bigger business, but that's your part of the business. And so you handle your business. And then when you leave that work, you have your business still. Everything you do is business. We're merchant men. And everything that we do, men and women, we're just doing business. And so you handle your business. So the money you make, you look at it as money to be made more money. Your money is supposed to be used to make more money. So here you're trying to find pearl of great price. Everything you do, the clothes you wear, the food you eat, the house you buy, the car you buy, everything you do, you're gonna say you're gonna get your most money out of it. Last week I went to the I call it the recycling place, but the county I don't know what you call it, sanitation place where you can bring recyclable garbage, everything. And I went there, but I have my trailer and the car I drive, the SUV I drive, I have a tow hitch on it, and And so for me, I was at the recycling place. I call it the recycling place. There's another name for it. You could call it the dump or whatever, but it's a sanitation place because there's a lot of stuff they do there. Recycle all kind of stuff, metals, plastic, all that. So I was there, and while I'm there, there's a lot of guys coming through with these big pickups, and they have these big trailers behind it, these black trailers that they go up to about your chest, and they have sides to it because they're either doing construction or they're doing demolition or they get rid of garbage or whatever they do. So not the trucks now, not the regular dump trucks and stuff like that, but the guys that do that for a living, they're doing construction. But I'm there, but my trailer is a smaller trailer, probably only a ton, 2 tons. But they have the big ones that I think they could do, like 5 tons. I don't know what they can do. They're big. But I'm there, and I was looking at my setup, the trailer, the towage, the SUV, and I was thinking, man, I got my money's worth out of it. I was just there thinking because the amount of trips I've done, the amount of use I've of in it. In other words, I'm looking at it and I'm saying, how can I get the best value? Because I don't want to drive a pickup because I need my gas mileage, and I'm not doing this type of stuff for a living. But they need a pickup because they need some diesel and they need some massive whatever. But to me, it's business. So for me, I'm looking at it and I'm like, where can I get my best value? I want my gas mileage, but I want my towing capacity, and I want to be able to have a trailer so that when I need it, I don't have to go rent a pickup or rent some type of box truck or stuff like that because I have a box trailer also, enclosed trailer. So I bought an enclosed trailer, an open back trailer. But I was there at the landfill. I don't know what you call it. It's a bunch of things going on there. Landfill, recyclable, what that place is called. And I'm there and I'm thinking, I got my money's worth. I was like, amazing thought. Just there, I got my money's worth out of this trailer and this setup. And I say that to you because if you ever be doing stuff like that, you need to get a setup like that because it's of value. Now, if you need a pickup, you get a pickup, right? Because the pickup, then you set. You get a pickup probably with a cab, so you can have your family in it, and then you can do that, or you get a trailer, or you get it like me, you just get a trailer. But I'm just saying that to you because if you look at it, it's like that's what it. You're trying to put your money where your money gonna go the fastest because everything you do in life, it's a business, and you're about business. You're about maximizing your money. Is not just about you don't want to make money. You want to make sure the money you make, you're a business person and you operate as a business. Even if you work for a corporation, you're a business person. Everybody's a business person. You have to. This is the life we live. Why? So I go to Genesis chapter 1, verse 26 and to 27 and 27. Notice here, and God said, let us make man in our image, after our likeness, and let them have dominion. You see, that's where it is. There's a dominion mean you have a dominion. So the president, he has dominion over the United States of America, Guam, including Hawaii, and I'll count Israel also. He's the president of Israel. So that's dominion. But you and I, you have dominion over the same thing. You have a dominion over your home, over what you control, your bank account, all of that stuff. The job you do, that's your dominion. You have to deal with that. To me, when I see this text, I see somebody at the front desk at the hotel, and that's their business. That's their job. Somebody valet parking, that's their job. They're working to make money. That's their dominion. That's what they control. Just whatever you control. Notice here, dominion over the fish of the sea, over the fowls of the air, and over the cattle, and over all the earth, and over every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth. Whatever it is, that's your dominion, or yard, whatever. When the animals come in your yard, yeah, that's your dominion. How you treat them, that's on you. So God created man in his own image. In the image of God created he him. Male and female created he them. So we were created in the creator's image. And we're given dominion. That means you have responsibility. You have what you have in your control. You're supposed to act like God, be like God. We're supposed to be like God. Everything that we do, we're supposed to do this now text. Genesis chapter 2, verse 15. clarifying the dominion. So now, to clarify the dominion a little more, notice here God says, and the Lord God took the man and put him into the Garden of Eden to dress it and to keep it. So everything that we do in this life, we approach this way. We dress it, not just our body, not just our yard, our house, our bank accounts, the company that we work with, the desk that we sit at. Everything that we do, we dress it and keep it. Now, keeping means that whatever you have, you need to preserve. And whatever you have, you need to dress it, mean to make it better. You need to look better, be better. So when you think about the dominion, when God created man, God says, I put you not only in a garden, but you have dominion over the fish of the sea or whatever. And you need to see the sea better. In other words, my concept in life is that if I look at the sea and I say, sea is supposed to have fish, and I go to the sea and I don't see no fish, then I would say, well, as humanity, we're supposed to make hatcheries so that we make the fish multiply or do whatever, stop whatever is causing the fish to die. But because of humanity, we see our purpose as to destroy it or to pillage it. See, so there's two dominion. For me, I see dominion as to multiply it, to make it better. Some people see dominion as to pillage it. So it's two different ideas. One I think come from Satan. To me, the idea that I have come from God. So in life, everything you're doing is you're adding value. You want to add value. You don't want to take value because the value you're adding is going to bless your life. In other words, when I look outside, I arbor birds. I want birds to multiply. So I encourage them. I want bats to multiply, the bats that fly. Because they're part of the ecological system. They're not supposed to decrease, they're supposed to increase. I don't want mosquitoes to multiply. They're from Satan. But I want owls and eagles and swans. I want them to multiply because they're part of our ecosystem. They bless us. Without them, we're good as dead. So that's what God put us here. That's the dominion that we have. So everything we have, we want to increase it. I want to see how we can increase it. Our income, our wages, our labor, whatever we own, our house, we want to always be dressing it and keeping it. We want to always be renovating, adding value to it. Our yard, our bank accounts, our investments. If we own a business, if we sit at a desk, that's our business. We want to be able to make it better. The better it is, the better it is for us. So that's the process. So when you understand that you not just learn now how to see value, you learn to create value. And then when you learn to create value, then you have a better understand of what values. Another important thing that I understand in this life is that when you understand how value comes about, then you recognize the value. In other words, you want to eat what is expensive or probably slow food because that's more value was put in the food. It's going to add more value to you. But then you learn now, oh, that's what value is. So that when you spend your money on what's valuable. In other words, I want a good show. As I say, if I go somewhere, I must spend $300 something. I want the best show. Because I want to feel like says I got my money's worth. And when I don't get the best show, I complain. And my wife is first to hear about that. Because I complain. I said, that wasn't a good show. I didn't like that. And then when I get a good show, I said, oh, that was a good show. I feel like I get my money's worth. Right? Because I'm paying for it. Because I learned over the years to recognize good value. As somebody say, I'm not going to a concert for somebody to lip sync. I can do that myself. I can play the music and lip sync to it. What am I going to do? I look in the mirror. And then good, I say, okay, I was amused. That was amusing. Genesis chapter 3, verse 16 through 19. So everything in life, you want to be able to recognize value, know how to make value. That's why when you go to work, if you put in your good day's labor or hard day's labor, that's value. So when you go now to pay for somebody to do labor for you, you want them to know, say, I'm getting my labor's worth because I know what good labor is. You see what I'm saying? Notice here, Genesis chapter 3, verse 16 through 19, it says, and Adam said, because thou hast hearkened unto the voice of thy wife, and unto Adam he says, because thou hast hearkened unto the voice of thy wife, and hast eaten of the tree, of which I command thee, saying, thou shalt not eat of it. Curses the ground for thy sake. In sorrow shalt thou eat of it all the days of thy life. So remember, God made value and God gave it to man. Man disrespect and rebelled against God and listened to Satan. God said, I'm going to take you to the garden and you're going to have to make your own value. So that's the experience that we have. So as long as you understand that, you understand that well. I'll repeat it again, because if I teach anything here to you today, teach you anything, I want you to get this. When we were in the garden, we had the best food, the best environment, climate control, 72 degrees, I'm assuming. Everything was good. Adam and Eve didn't see the value in that. And they thought they could get better value. God said, no, there's no better value. God made it clear to them, no better value. Don't listen to the snake. But the temptation was never removed. They now listen to the snake and God said, no, I'm going to kick you out. Now you're going to see, you're going to have to make your own value. You want climate control, you're going to have to make your own climate control. You want fruits, you're going to have to plant your own fruit trees. You want abundance and fatness, you're going to have to make your own. And then you're going to see what value is. Then you're going to understand what you lost. See, and in this life, if you can't recognize value, when you lose it, as I say, you never miss the well until the well run dry. Then when the well run dry, you'll be like, oh man, I lose that well. Sometimes you don't understand the value of something until you lose it. And then when you lose it, you say, oh, that was painful. I never do that again. See, that's what God did to Adam. God said, I'm going to force you to understand that you have a garden. I made a garden. And all I told you to do was dress it and keep it. Now you're going to have to plant your own garden. So in this life, what it is that we have to do this for ourselves. But when we do this, we try not to lose what we have because we understand it came through hard work. And we understand people all day long. Listen, you've been noticing recently your phone being blown up with all these spammers and scammers calling you. What they do, they're trying to quickly use robocalls and all that type of stuff, these technologies, to steal your money. They're trying to find who they can steal and then go steal their money because they want to get your money and you have to work hard for it and then you lose it. So you have to be wise in this life. Understand there's Satans out there, people working for Satan, that they want you to work hard. So God kicked Adam and Eve. Let's read the rest of it. Thorns and thistles shall it bring forth to thee, and thou shalt eat the herb of the field. So you had a fruit here and died. Now you have to eat some herbs. If you don't eat some herbs, you're going to die of diseases. Notice here, and in the sweat of thy face thou shalt eat bread. How are you going to eat bread? You're going to sweat. Before you were eating bread by just going and picking. Now you're going to have to plant the thing. You have to fight with the bugs. You have to do all kind of stuff. So when you fight hard for your money, you're not giving it up. I work too hard for my money to eat bread, bread unless it's whole wheat and organic. I want a farmer to put some labor into it, and so that I get the best value out of my money. Till thou return unto the ground, for out of it was us taken, and for dust thou art, and unto dust thou shalt return. So you say you're going to work. So we just accept work. We just accept that. Say, listen, in this life, we're going to have to put in some labor. But we understand why we put in the labor. We're not out there just working and, let's have a job. No, I'm a business person. It's always about business. And I understand what I'm doing. So I labor. I put my labor in. Notice here in Proverbs 31, verse 10, it says, who can find a virtuous woman? For her price is far above rubies. Right? In Proverbs 31, verse 13, notice he's going to tell you why her price is above rubies. Her value is because she know how to make value. I want to see that. Value is what she can do with it. And when you understand that, she fulfills Genesis chapter 3. How? Because she dress it and keep it. She understand that raw material, raw land, anything has to be able to add value. But when you add value, you want to keep value. Because you see value, you can know what value is. Notice here, Proverbs 31 verse 13 says, she seeketh wool and flax and work it willingly with her hand. She takes the raw material and make end product. See, she's a business person. Notice verse 15 again. She riseth also while it is yet night and giveth meat to her household and a portion to her maiden. Notice here, when you want to add value and when you want to get the most out of your money, one of the things you have to learn to do is take raw material. You still have to pay money for the raw material. And you can use your skills, your talents. You can develop talents. So you can take the raw material to make the end product. So I would rather tell you that you need to either get some little carpentry, some little plumbing, some little whatever work you can do, sheetrock work, and you go buy a house in a neighborhood, not a hood, that needs some TLC, and pay the same price you would pay for a house in the hood that's finished. Because long term, you can get more money because you know how to use your hand. That's how I tell you. Or you work some overtime for a period of time until inflation, your income catch up with the monthly payment, and you go buy yourself a house in a neighborhood if you have no skill, but you have skill to make money. But you can make money and you can do a little handiwork. You get more value because you're recognizing, okay, this house might not need some TLC, but it's in a nicer hood, a neighborhood. It's not in a hood. So I'm gonna go over here. I'm gonna spend a little more, but I'm gonna fix it up a little bit. Or I'm gonna work some overtime, pay somebody to fix it up, and then I get a better value. In other words, you want to recognize value because value is. In other words, what I'm saying here, and I have to get this thought off you in my head. What I'm saying here to you is when you look at spending a little bit more, what you're looking at is you're looking at a more three-dimensional view of what value is. In other words, when you say, if we're talking about food, food is more than energy. So value is more than just, oh, it fills my stomach. When you talk about house, a house is more than just the physical house, where it sits in the plot of land that it sits, or in if it's a condo or a townhouse. It's also the neighborhood. So normally, if you want to understand the value of a house, it's not just, oh, okay, the house looks good. It's what's the school? How is the school district where the house lies? How much crimes happen where the house lies? How much, how much thefts, murders, all that. Where's the supermarket? What kind of supermarket it has? What's the roads like? It's more three-dimensional. So I would rather you go and say, I have to go work overtime. Because if you work overtime, say for 5 years, sooner or later your wage supposed to, because of inflation, just wait. Because the mortgage is going to be the same. Taxes might change, but the mortgage is going to be the same. It's a fixed rate mortgage. So your inflation wages could go up to catch up to the house. So that now the house, then you can say, okay, I can start working overtime because the house has become a less percentage of my income. So notice here, she considered a field and bite it. With the fruit of her hands, not the fruit of the field, the fruit of her hands, she planted a vineyard. So she's taking the raw material again and she's making value. So she's seeing the value, but not the value as how you see it in the end product. If you want to go to her go and buy her vineyard when she's planted it up, it's going to cost you some money. But she see the raw material, the raw land, the raw whatever, and she say, I'm going to buy it, I'm going to make something of it. When you do like that, you understand value. You sort of see value in ways other people don't see value, which is what I'm trying to teach you here. She laid her hand on the spindle and her hands hold the distaff. So she can take the equipment and make money. So she can see money. She make it fine linen and sell it and deliver girdle unto her merchants or the merchants. So in her thing, she understand, and there's a text that I'm sure brought here. Oh, verse 18. Now, verse 18 of Proverbs 31 says, she perceiveth that her merchandise is good, and her candle goeth not out at night. So she can look at something and say, I see value there. And I know how to make that value. And I know how to multiply. So in this life, one has to recognize value, and then one has to be able to secure that value because you want that value in your life. And when you can do life like this, then you know what is value. See, for me, a lot of what I do life, like as I say to you, I can be amused, but I don't spend too much money on amusement. Because why? Because what is it going to do for me? It's going to take my money, and the more amusing it is, if it's a circus has a lot of amusement, but what does it do for you? Right? It amuses you. So you have to limit that. Somebody say, Lloyd, but I go to certain places and it's amusing. Sure you do. But limit your money you spend on amusement. Your money need to be invested. Your money need to spend for your creature comforts. You need to be able to go to bed at night and not worry that somebody's going to shoot you while you're laying in your bed. Somebody said, but Lord, that's expensive to live in an area where you're not going to get shot while sleeping, or get shot at the supermarket, or get shot wherever. Sure. It's cheaper to live places where, as I say, there's people selling themselves on the side of the street, selling drugs on the side of the street. Sure, it's cheaper, but it's too cheap. Does that make sense? There's no value there for me. I don't see the value. I prefer to go spend a little bit more money, and then I maintain my income because I'm not losing my money. We'll talk more about this as we start doing these, as we've been doing these Tuesdays. We'll pray. Our Father who art in heaven, I thank you for your word in this day. I pray that, Lord, that you may bless us, dear Father, that we might be able to recognize value and be able to also add value, that we might truly increase and not decrease. May you bless us towards this end for Christ's sake. Amen. Well, thanks for being with me here on Revive Reform Radio. Looking forward to talking to you again live tomorrow, where we should talk about natural health. Until then, I pray that you may continue to walk with the King.